Terra Realm is a brand new ASIM game that is currently publicly available for testing, and even though everything will receive huge changes, and this video will probably be outdated in one day, I thought it'd be fun to rank every single convict in the game, Convict being this game's version of Survivor. That's a total of 4 different characters, each with their own playstyles, abilities, and stats. In this video, I'll be ranking them based on how good they are on a tier list. Keep in mind, as of the time I'm making this video, the game has only been out for one day, so please forgive me if some of my rankings age really poorly. Also, a lot of the footage I use in the video is old footage that doesn't include a lot of the balance changes done, but don't worry, I made the rankings as up to date as possible. Just some of the things I'm saying won't match the footage you see. All the correct stats are put as text on screen. Hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get started. As our first convict, we're going to be looking at one of my personal favorites, the Rocketeer. They aim to protect themselves and other survivors using their 2 abilities, stunning and harming the killer. They have 100 health and a difficulty of 1 star. Their first ability is Rocket Launcher. When activated, Rocketeer slows down to a crawl, and you're able to aim anywhere. Upon clicking again, an extremely fast traveling missile is fired out, exploding on impact. If the killer is hit directly, they are stunned for 3.5 seconds. If they are hit closely by the explosion, they are stunned for 2.5 seconds. And if they're just barely hit, they get slowness 3 for 5 seconds. This has a cooldown of 45 seconds, or 30 seconds if you end up missing. Their second ability is Bomb Trap. Rocketeer stands in place for 2 seconds, placing a landmine. If the killer enters the proximity of the trap, it detonates after a short delay, inflicting the muffled effect onto the anomaly for 1 second. If the killer was very close to the explosion, they are also inflicted with slowness 2 for 5 seconds. These mines have a lifetime of 50 seconds, and you can place up to 2 at a time. Anomalies recently hit by these mines also have their missile stun time multiplied by 1.75 times. Rocketeers can be incredibly powerful, yet easy to use. The missile is laughably easy to hit, with its almost immediate travel time, ease of aim, and generous splash radius. There also seems to be no downside to having multiple Rocketeers, other than just reducing their health, meaning that if you're in a lobby full of them, you're going to be constantly stunned without there really being anything you can do. And even if you miss your shot, the punishment is negligible, as you can quickly begin running away. So it's a safe, easy to hit, long-lasting stun. Very powerful. The mines aren't as good as a rocket launcher, but it's definitely a nice addition to their kit. Placing them at choke points can make them unavoidable and allows you to help your teammates without directly engaging with the killer. The only downside to Rocketeer is that the stun they have isn't really something you can use to help yourself due to the decently long windup before you can actually shoot. It's mainly for helping other teammates and is really good at doing so. Still, I think this character is at least an A tier. Before all the balance changes, they were easily an S tier, but that was largely because their cooldown was completely bugged and way quicker than it should have been. Still, they have a very powerful stun, as hard to avoid and easy to use. You will always want some Rocketeers in your lobby, or preferably a lot of them. If you have played killer in this game, you know just how difficult they are to deal with. For our next survivor, we have the Community, who is definitely the most complicated convict with a 5-star difficulty. They have 90 health, 1 passive ability, and 3 abilities. Their passive ability is called Ratings Baby. Community has a rating meter that acts like a scoring system, going up if staying in a chase without getting hit, landing abilities, collecting items. Pretty much anything that's perceived as good increases its ratings. Vice versa, bad things like missing abilities, getting hit, or even being close to the killer when they are stunned lowers your ratings. Having a higher rating decreases the cooldown of your abilities and gives you higher health. Their first ability is Assisting Alert. Community pulls out a megaphone and shoots out large sound waves. These push back and slow the killer and also highlights them. The longer you aim at the killer, the higher their slowness will be, maxing out as slowness 2 for 2 seconds after 4 seconds of aiming. If you press Q again, you can cancel the ability, and each sound wave costs 10 ratings. This has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Their second ability is Taunting Tormentor. Community slows down and taunts 3 times, giving any convicts within a 50 stud radius speed 1 for 2 seconds. If the killer is caught within this hitbox, you gain speed 2 for 1 second. If Community manages to land all 3 taunts, he will begin sprinting for 7 seconds, allowing you to create huge distance. But if you crash into a wall, this is cancelled early. Each taunt costs 20 ratings. This has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Their final ability is Cutaway. Community pulls out a cardboard cutout and places it in front of him. This can be destroyed by the killer by moving into it or attacking it. If walked into, it gives the killer slowness, but if ran through or attacked, they get slowness and helpless. You can have up to 5 cutouts at a time and pick it up whenever. These cutouts give plus 1.5 ratings per second and cost 75 ratings to place. So we're finally done talking about their stats, but is this convict any good? They're definitely very complicated, but they do have their strengths. At max rating, they have 110 health, and their abilities recharge much quicker, with Alert having a cooldown of 10 seconds, Taunt having a cooldown of 20 seconds, and Cutaway having a cooldown of 10 seconds. But it's quite hard to get the max ratings in an actual game, so they usually aren't going to get that powerful. But actually, you can get really close to it, as even when I had no idea what I was doing, I managed to get up to around 800. And another note, this was back when you can only place 1 cutout, so yeah, now it should be very easy to get to 1000. This character can definitely be quite helpful to their team, especially on maps with tight corridors. It's very easy to slow down the killer in areas like that, but when using this ability, you are left quite vulnerable, and it doesn't provide nearly as much value as the Rocketeer stun, although it is extremely easy to hit and a surprisingly long range. Taunting Tormentor is a quite risky move to use, as if the killer notices you are doing so, they will target you and there isn't much you can do. Still, if you are decent distance away, the speed boost can help you inch away, and you may manage to pull off the 7-second rush and easily escape. But I did find it a little bit difficult to steer this, and it's very sensitive to any walls, so be careful not to crash. Their cardboard cutout is a crucial ability if you want a high rating, since they can give huge amounts if left to stack for a while, and are then walked into by the killer or picked up. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% on where to rank this guy, but I do feel they're a bit underwhelming compared to the rest. Their support isn't amazing, the stalling of the killer is mediocre, and as such, I'm gonna put them in the B tier. Maybe I'm just not using them right, so let me know in the comments below if you disagree with this decision. For our next convict, we have Hwando. They are another convict that can stun the killer and aid their teammates, having 110 health and a 4-star difficulty. He has 2 abilities and 1 passive ability. Their passive ability is called Adrenaline, which shows up as a yellow meter on their screen. This bar fills up if Hwando is within a 30 stud radius of the killer, and the more filled up it is, the more perks he receives. His first ability is Rush. He begins sprinting for 5 seconds, letting him create distance. During this charge, he can pick other survivors and help them escape the killer. If Hwando takes any damage or his adrenaline runs out, the sprint stops. Also, if he does not pick anyone up, he is punished with slowness 4 for 3 seconds on top of the move's existing end lag. This has a cooldown of 30 seconds or 15 seconds if cancelled early. Their second ability is Punch. After a 0.5 second windup, Hwando screams and punches the killer in front of them. If your adrenaline bar is more than half, it stuns the killer, with the duration depending on how much adrenaline you have, capping out at 3 seconds. However, if you have max adrenaline, it stuns the anomaly for 4 seconds. Hwando is a very solid stunner who can both protect themselves and their team. The Rush ability is a really fun way to help your teammates, as you can pick up someone who's clearly low stamina and about to die and carry them away to safety. You can pick up several people, but make sure you focus on creating a lot of distance instead of looping around the killer trying to pick up more people, because you know, if you run out right next to him, you haven't really helped your team at all. I do wish that it also shoved the killer, but it's still a solid ability. The Punch is very good, as you can stun the killer and help your teammates without needing the killer's attention, unlike somebody like Guest It Forsaken, who first needs to land a block. However, while the Punch is good, I still think Rocketeer Stun is a lot better. It stuns for just a little bit less than a max adrenaline punch, is a ranged projectile, and super easy to land. In comparison, the stun actually stuns for a lesser amount of time if it isn't at max adrenaline, and requires you to put yourself in danger, potentially resulting in death if you miss it. The main advantage they have is that they're probably the best character in Last Man Standing, since they can use the punch to defend themselves, while Rocketeer can't really do that. So after all the buffs they've received, and the nerfs that Rocketeer has gotten, I would say Hwando joins Rocketeer in the A tier, just 1 spot below him. Hwando is more of a selfish character, so if you only care about winning yourself, pick him, but if you want to help your team out, pick Rocketeer. Besides, you look way cooler punching someone, and that's what's most important, looking cool. For our final survivor, we have Bloom. This is the only healing / support character in the game, with 90 health and 3 abilities. Their first ability is Living Touch. When used, it summons an orb, which flies towards a nearby survivor with the least amount of health. This ability has up to 3 stacks instead of having a cooldown, and multiple of these stacks can be used at a time, healing several people at once, but you'll then have to wait for the stacks to regenerate. These orbs heal 2.5 HP, and this is reduced by 0.5 for each additional Bloom user, down to a minimum of 1 HP. Their next ability is Ivy Whip. Bloom slams the ground to create a vine explosion, and if the killer is caught by this move, a vine will wrap around the killer's leg, giving both Bloom and the killer slowness 1 for 10 seconds, or until Bloom is damaged. This is a cooldown of 25 seconds, or 20 seconds if missed. Their final ability is Rejuvenating Blossom. Bloom casts a spell that heals anyone within 50 studs, with the heal amount depending on their Blossom meter. This meter is filled using their other abilities, getting +1 for each player healed using Living Touch, and +8 from Ivy Whip. The meter can be filled up to 50, meaning when maxed out, this ability can heal 50 HP in an instant to several survivors. That's pretty OP. For example, in these screenshots, you can see just how insane the healing is. Roughly 100 health is healed using 1 ability. That's pretty crazy. I'm gonna cut to the chase. Bloom is the best convict in the game. Their healing is absolutely insane, with Living Touch being usable while moving and automatically seeking out weak survivors. Ivy Vine allows you to slow down the killer and help your teammates, and Rejuvenating Blossom is just crazy. If the killer does not take care of the Blooms, they will 100% lose. They can easily out-heal the killer's damage, and their only weakness is the fact that they cannot protect themselves. But as long as you have a couple Rocketeers and your team is very competent, you should be fine. So I'm gonna put them at the very top of S tier. They are a very powerful character. And with that, that's it for this video. This is my final tier list. It's probably gonna be outdated tomorrow after they release yet another 2,000 balance changes. This video was originally gonna be a video ranking every single character, including the killers, but they released an insane amount of balance changes, basically forcing me to completely rewrite the killer section, and I'd already been working on this video for 12 hours, so I just couldn't bother. With that said, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and join my Discord. I'll be active there after this video is posted. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.